Next up, we have Gopi.
Hello, hi everyone. Thanks for the opportunity, Ali here. I'm Gopi Panuluru. I am, again, one of the guys, was very passionate about data. I am in the industry for about 20 years or so. And, I kind of, worked into different areas. And my longest is in Honeywell. I spent about 15 years there. Last year, I joined in the United Healthcare. Here, I lead the data engineering globally, and I'm a director. And again, as you mentioned, we got a lot of data, a lot of analytics, but generative AI has been one of the top things that we are also looking into, right? How we can leverage. But with the even though it's a healthcare, like heavy on the data, so I'm more work on the clinical space. So yeah, I'm definitely eager to see the presentation, and I haven't heard about Colaberry before, so great video. So get to learn a little bit. So again, thanks for having me here.
All right, awesome. All right, Gopi.
Yeah, so I agree with Steve and Joseph. Fantastic, very good streamline of the story, right? Where you started, what are the things that you highlighted, right? Where you ended, not about the insights, but also you presented, what it could, you are recommending some actions and all of that. So fantastic. Correlations is one of them. I thought about the going into one level down, right? State is good, but states are wide. So is there a way that we can go in particular? And then the population is one of the things that I was thinking about, right? How much service that you could provide, right? If based on the population, right? You could probably alert, right? Hey, this region, you have this much population. How is it? Again, it depends on the data availability, right? You may have the data, you may not have the data, but something, right? It's always okay for you to say, hey, I wanted to do this, but I did not have this data available with me, so I couldn't do it. Is okay. But thinking about that, right, would help. But otherwise, fantastic. I loved it. Thank you.
Gopi.
Yes, sure. Yeah, good job.
Thank you.
I think you got definitely a lot of knowledge that you exhibited. Length of stay. That is one of the actual things that we are currently working on. Not to give you too many details, but in the clinical space, right? One of the things that we do, our business is inpatient case management, and really look to bring the length of stay down. Being the payer side, right? Definitely the cost is a thing, right? So
yes.
So I think definitely got nicely picked the topic, and definitely looking into the first I kind of confused about the what is the healthcare investment, but I think as you talked about it made sense. The numbers is something that I was not sure. The MRI units and CT scans. I was, is it like the total that you are representing there, or is it always like, previous year to current year difference, right? I know there is a percentage, but the totals, I wasn't sure. One, the other item is hospital beds, right? Decreasing the length of stay. That correlation is something that I couldn't really understand, right? When you are increasing the hospital beds, right, how the length of stay could go down, right? That correlation is something that didn't make sense to me. But otherwise, you kind of looked into different aspect of it. You got a thought of correlation. What we gave last presentation, right? And it would have been better to look into correlation. So we see that from your presentation, you have that thought that you need to do that. That's good. So overall, and a good job that you got everything nicely done. Thank you.
Thank you.
But one thing it reminded me with the New York traffic is, in my previous company, we were doing an interview round, and we actually gave this data set to our candidates to analyze this. It's more on the Brooklyn bridges, look at it, the traffic analysis and stuff. So New York is definitely, a city that we should analyze more and more, whether it's with the cities or not. But coming to the presentation, right? I think you got the your KPIs defined, you got your visuals defined, you took about 8 months of data. Probably you don't have a lot of data in there, so that would have given a little bit more insights, but that's one of them. And finally, you were able to make out that, hey, Brooklyn is where you have more traffic. But the month January to February, not sure whether it tells a lot about it, but yes, there is about 2% increase. But probably want to look at holistically. And map chart that you had in there, right? I didn't see you used much, so that is not sure whether it is telling anything. Just a recommendation, right? If something it doesn't tell, you don't have to use it. That's one topic, that item that I have. Again, one more thing is, what are the external factor, right? Particularly for the accidents, weather, right? Weather would, weather data would always help. Safety needs, all those are, definitely important. All of this, that you highlighted, that the weather plays a significant role, and also the traffic run rate, right? How many vehicles are coming, right? That is another thing that you could look at as well.
Gopi?
Okay, this is really good. Well done, right? From a presentation standpoint, right, organization standpoint, and I see the support that has been provided to each of the presenters is fantastic. I could actually see that they learned a lot, right? As they are presenting through. It's not easy to present. Again, we are, I'm today at the jet side. I had been there on the, as a presenter side. So it's all about learning. Is being here. I'm learning from you guys, right? Again, analytics, as Joseph mentioned, Steve mentioned, right? And analytics is a huge area, right? We want to, look at the data. But one quick thing that I would say, I tell, to many people, right? When you're looking at the data, reporting versus analytics, right? Reporting is very different than analytics. So just keep that in mind, right? This is very important. One of my previous roles, I've been in the analytics, leading the global analytics team, but I've been on the strategic side, right? Probably 30 out of the strategic elements that we bring, probably 1 or 2 only move forward. So don't be discouraged, right, if something is not moving forward. That is very, very important, right? It's always that our being in the analytics side, our goal is to understand, right? Bring the insights, look at the outliers, put your observations. And sometimes you may not be in the driving seat, right, to really take the strategy up forward. There are other folks, there are more people who knows a little bit more on the strategy side. They will help you out, but don't discourage yourself. Continue to do this, right? But I can actually feel it with your presentation. There is a high quality of your presentation, so I really enjoyed it. Thank you, guys.